getting into the first song on the album, Rock and Randall, immediately when I listened to it, it instantly felt familiar. It felt like something I'd heard before. And not in a way where it was copying something else. It just felt right. How do you go about writing something that instantly feels familiar? People can, pick up, on the chorus of the song so quickly. They can pick up on the melody and just enjoy the song on the first listen. How do you approach that?
Rock and Randall, I appreciate that. And that one came pretty quick. I had that title. And I tried not to overthink that one. I tried not to overthink really any of these songs. I would definitely edit them and try to dig on lines or rhymes and make sure things were tight and I wasn't repeating different words from other songs and things like that. Just kind of what I've always done in my career before you put a record out as the songwriter, you want to tighten and button up some things. But that one, man, I don't know. I don't know where that one came from. I kind of wanted to make a kind of a tribute to Hank Jr. And also something that makes you feel something. That song makes me kind of want to party. It kind of makes me want to go work out. It kind of makes me feel better when I hear it. As I was writing it, I was imagining playing it live. And so, that song could have been, maybe a slower tempo, but that would have been wrong. I felt like it needed energy. And, it was right around dinner time and I was having a little drink and we were about to start cooking and Rock and Randall popped in my head and I go, man, I want to write that song. And I'm a big Hank Jr. fan and I was just kind of visual. I'm very visual. So I was going through some of his titles and I go, well, maybe an angle to get in this song and this verse to get this vibe going would be to kind of make my own verse out of some of his old titles and maybe a lyric or two of some of his old songs. And so, two of my probably top favorite songs of his are I've Been Down and Feeling Better. And I just looked at those and I go, well, I've been down, but I'm feeling better. And I was just like, wow, I could that's like its own little thing, putting those two titles together and adding one or two words. And I was kind of off to the races from there. I had all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight. I was like, oh my gosh, that actually makes sense. And I just kind of let it happen from there. I had the verse kind of locked in, and then the next day I got a little more serious, and I didn't want to get on the chorus that night. I woke up, I wanted a fresh start, and my first gut reaction on the chorus was really how it sounds.
Okay.
And I didn't know if it was going to stick, but that was my natural reaction. Play some Rock and Randall and hang. And I lived with that for a couple days. I didn't get much further past that. I wanted to see how I felt and let that marinate. And for 2 or 3 days, I walked around and that wouldn't get out of my head. And I go, okay, well, that's what I want to sing. That's how I want to sing it. And then I knew I just wanted to rhyme, Hank. I got on the Tennessee River bank and just kind of one of those things, man. I don't know. I didn't overthink it, and it just kind of all popped out. And then I know the end of the chorus, the last line or two, play some rambling man down from Alabama, and I won't kick out your footlights. That footlights line took a second to find. I didn't know how to word it, and I was like, I thought maybe a line would be, and I won't kick out your taillights. I was like, well, that doesn't fit, the famous song Footlights is such an amazing song, a historical song. A lot of artists have covered it. And I just thought that gave it, and if you play some Rock and Randall, I'm not going to kick out your footlights like old time's sake, and I just thought that kind of put a stamp on it of attitude, some Hank attitude, some Ed Kelley attitude, some Brian Kelley attitude in there. And once I had that, I was like, all right, I got the chorus now. And then the second verse, just wanted to have some fun with it, kind of switch the cadence up, take it to another place. This record, not only this song, but this record, I tried to break some rules a little bit, and do things my way. Typically you'd go back to the same way, you sang the second verse or the first verse as the second, but I did that multiple times. I just wanted to take some second verses and go somewhere else. and not just go back to the same repetitious verse you've already heard, same melody, and just kind of do it my way and just break some rules, and just do it different.
Yeah. And one thing I was going to ask you was actually about that chorus and the melody. It's some of the places you go vocally are really unexpected compared to some of your previous works.
Yep.
This time you had the melody before you went into the studio. Is that a normal thing? How's your process normally evolve? Do you normally come into the studio with just the lyrics? Do you come in with the melody in your head? Like what was different?
I came into the studio with melody and with the songs basically written. There's maybe 2 songs maybe 2 bridges that I needed to figure out once we got with the band and kind of how it sat, and maybe not having it all completed, like the bridge. I know in the studio there was 1 or 2 bridges I just kind of like driving in, I'm tweaking, I'm like, holy smokes, we're at the end of this thing, we're about to record. And that kind of lit a fire under me to get it done. And sometimes I like a little pressure. I liked it when I was at school writing papers and studying, and a little bit of a procrastinator on some things, but I know that when I have to get it done, the very end of some things, I'll get it done. And I just kind of trust myself on that. There's 2 songs specifically that I had lyrics and melody, like the song written, but I didn't write them on guitar, which is kind of wild. I didn't want to be limited to anything typical that I would naturally go to on guitar to write Cowboy Gold and Back Pocket Blues. Both of those were written just at a desk with my iPad, typing, and have my phone, and I would hear the melody in my head, get the lyrics, I'd be counting syllables, and then I'd put the melodies in of the verse and chorus I'd get in my phone, and then I'd go back and just I'd have it in my head. I'm like, well, that song's kind of done. And then I'd get with Caitlin and Caleb, and we kind of get them charted. And that was cool too, because the majority of the songs were written with just me and a guitar, but the ones that weren't are so different and special. And that's how they should be if you don't have a guitar. Cowboy Gold is funky, it's different. I've never written anything like that. It's country, it's swaggy. And the melodies are so different. And then Back Pocket Blues was something that I was about to get a ride to the airport. I had about an hour till the car picked me up, and I was about to get creative for like that last hour before the airport, and was kind of vibing on with the guitar, and then I sat my guitar down, lost my pick, and I'm like, where the heck's my pick at? And I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking around the house. I'm like, all right, well, damn, I'm trying to get creative. And I go, oh, I bet it's in my back pocket. So I reached in there, found my pick, and I go, and I had known for this project, I wanted some song with the blues in the title. And right when I found my pick, for some reason, Back Pocket Blues popped in my head. And I immediately heard, I got them back pocket blues. Put that in my phone. Got like maybe the majority of that first little verse, it's not that long, got that written. Car picked me up. I get to the airport. I'm there way too early. I go to Tailgate Brewery, this little bar in the airport. I pop up my iPad, get a beer, and I'm just sitting there working on the chorus. Got the majority of the chorus done sitting in the airport bar. Wow. Just hearing it in my head, typing it, putting little voice memos in. And then the next day when I got back to Florida, I finished it. But I don't know, man. This record was written in Florida. It was written in Nashville. It was written, worked on in Milwaukee. It was worked on, I wrote 2 songs in Canada on a show day. Just holed up in my hotel room, scheming up, dreaming up. And so it's a special project, man. I love this project, and I'm just really excited for the world to hear it.